Formal education that refers for the process of which teachers instruct students in courses of study within the institutions. So, talking about the traditional education, we also call the custom of education and conventional education. The main motive of the traditional education is to pass on the values, manners, and skills, and the social practice to the next generation, which is necessary to be their survival. In traditional education, the students learn about the customs and traditions and society in which they live. This type of education is mostly imparting the students by the means of oral rectifications. And there were no formal type of education, no books, just oral reactions. There is a very less written works or practical works. The students simply sit down together and listen to the teacher or their masters or another who recite the lessons. The traditional does not include the written test, but they include some of the oral tests, or we can say that the behavioral test, which is very important. Traditional education is also far from the use of science and technology. Neither the education about the science or about the sciences which we study today, is a great deals in part the traditional education system. Traditional education system basically include the knowledge about the customs, traditions, and religion. That is why it is called the traditional education. Our modern education, and then in comparison with the modern education, is very different from the traditional education. The education which is taught in the schools today is the modern education. Modern education teaches about the skill required, and the today's in the skill science and technology, science of medical sciences, or in addition, listening to the modern education includes writing, visualizing, and imagining, and then also the thinking skills. This type of education is also includes the written test, exams, which is for just for survivals. So talking about the traditional and modern education, both of them related to each other difference between also the early history of our country. There were times where there were no schools. There were no schools during the Rana dynasty, or long ago. There were no schools. The children acquired the education or knowledge from their ancestor. At that time, the knowledge is focused on only the skill required for survival. The people who lived in the jungle got the education from their ancestor, who taught them how to hunt the animal for their food, how to use animal skin, how to use the animal's bones for their own purpose of life, how to make tools. They were taught about the rituals and customs they follow. They were taught about the religious and followed by their ancestors, their parents. They taught them on the stories. Actually, during the night time or sometime in the morning time, they were taught the stories of good skills, or sometimes they tell the story about the gods or their king, from which they could believe, or they can learn some good morals. The king used to send their sons on a school in there were called the Gurukul. Normal people, they did not get the opportunity to study. Only the royal family, they will get the opportunity to learn. That's called the Gurukul. In these Gurukuls, they were taught how to use the different weapons, how to protect themselves, and how to attack their enemies. For the local population, it could be assisted by the royal families. The rest of the children in the empire learn from the skill which is practiced by their parents only. As with the democracy, the government has established, then the coming year, the importance of education is spread in everywhere. In the today's scenario, lives hang on the balloon. Each day, decisions are made or to spark the spark or in the dream. In one decision may spark or in the dream of a man. In a minute, sometime not in a minute, no, sometime in a second, the change the projected of their life. So, talking about the education in the present scenario, education should be for the liberty, but the mind peace. So nowadays, schools are offering the graduation, or they are just making the degree or etc. The schools that reflects our community. Graduation is not the destiny; it's just a threshold, it's just a milestone for their lives. How to go, when to go. Now their destiny starts. In the present context, most of the educational institutions, they are providing the factory worker only. They are just developing the manpower, not the human being. So just before Guruji told that in the history about the Vietnam, just few years ago, the situation of Nepal, political situation of Nepal, there was a war, the Maoists is leading the war. So every institution that might be the formal education or informal education, or they are providing the manpower for their own factory. The political party, they are providing their political follower, their political worker. Some machine factory, they are they are enhancing to have a good manpower for their own factory. They want to earn money. So, talking about the good education, right education should be the peace and harmony within us, within the whole entire world, entire community. So nowadays, people are against the nature. If we are against the nature, nobody can survive. The life will be declining if we go against the nature. So the right education should be, we follow the nature, we should respect the natures, and the ultimate peace should be the inner happiness. We have to share the happiness among the whole entire country for the well-being of a whole living being in this world. So,
yes.
Yeah. So something, yeah. Okay. So
Yeah, okay.
in my opinion, in my career of last 52 years, I was never thinking to be an educator, or never thought about to be a teacher. But changing my profession from one to another. So ultimately, I became a teacher. It's my lifetime experiment or experience. So it is difficult there, but which education is better? Both of the types of this have importance. Both the types of also the similar to each difference. Modern education, or maybe the traditional education, both looks equally important. Still, there is a debate in the whole country which education is the best or which is the right education. The country which are following the industrial way, they think to develop the industry to product like their production. They believe on the production energy, so they think the production is the best right education or best education. The people in the who is practicing a ritual, or maybe they're talking about the human being, they think that inner peace is a good thing. So the ultimate goal should be the happiness. Happiness is the best way. So there should be the education system so that the people, our students should be, they should obviously they should have their luxury life, lavish life, or sometimes it's a normal life. Just they can accommodate their life, but there should be the lesson for inner happiness, peace, and harmony within the nature or within the people. So what I got in my 30 years of my career, at the beginning we are just we were transferred the skill just for survival. So when you talk about the teaching, I remember my childhood, I remember my school, I remember in my university, they just transfer their knowledge. We are not getting education. For example, since childhood, since nursery, we were taught that it's bad to cheat other people. It's bad to steal someone's good. They give us the knowledge. So in practice, in real life, if the behavior is not changed, if I know it's cheating or stealing is bad, so I look around everywhere. If I see the good things, if I see nobody is watching me, and then I keep those property inside me, that's not the education. Education should be what we learn in our life, what the knowledge we have, that should be implemented in our daily life. So that's called a good education. Nowadays, people are in such a way, it's a modern way, the science and technology, your world is, for information, your world is in your hand, in your palm. If you one touch, you can have a lots of information, lots of knowledge. Now people have less respect for their master, their Guruji also, because they can ask the Siri, hello Siri, then just one button, the Siri will give you the answer. Next button, if you ask the Google, it's so many knowledge. There are the lots of bank of knowledge. But talking about the education and knowledge is different, which we can implement in our life. That should be the education. And that's another thing is knowledge. Who knows? Who has the best knowledge? And we don't believe on the university degree or university graduation. The certificate that provides by the university is an education. That's just a milestone framework. You can in the entire world there are so many good leaders who never got the university college. Talking about the Buddha, who never been to school, who never been to university, but look, he's talking about the peace, harmony, and he's enlightened. So nowadays, in the whole university, in the educational institution, they are just a factory to provide unemployment, or they are providing this disturbed mind. And the education should be to provide the peace and harmony among the people. That should be ultimate good, should be the happiness.
Quick note, there are some people in the waiting room. If they could invite them in, please, Dr. Lam.
Yes.
There are some people in the waiting room. My friend James Madison is in the waiting room, and maybe some others. Can you invite them in to?
Okay, and now let a few minutes, teacher Uday.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes. Conclusion. How can we get the right education?
The right education, maybe Guruji, we have to follow. I think, in my opinion, is throughout my learning, the conclusion should be that traditional way of education is the good education. That's we follow the Gurukul. And in the Gurukul, we learn from the Guru's acting, Guru's whatever the Guru, our master taught us, we follow their idea. Nowadays, just they're having the mathematics knowledge, they have having the science knowledge, or they are having the economics knowledge, but no knowledge for life, no knowledge for happiness. So they are just using the optimizing the utilization of the nature's resources, like they are using the weapons. They are producing lots of the bomb and gun. They are using the uranium. They are using so many natural resources. We can say that's the misusing. So that is producing only the unhappiness to whole world. That making each other enemy. Now looks they are divided in two parts. European part, Asian part, African part. We are human being. We are not anything else. Yes. For American also, the 24 hours a day. For African people also, it's a 24 hours in a day. For us also, it's a 24 hours in a day. Why there is discrimination between American people, African people, European people, and Asian people? So now this is the this is, I think, they have just underutilizing the weapons. They want to create the unstable the country, and they want to misuse the opportunity. So, in my opinion, so the knowledge, the education should be peace and harmony for the human being, talking about not only for the mind, it's for the whole entire environment and to the nature, for animal even. We should not harm anybody.
So thank you very much, Professor Uday. So I think you have a long experience in education. You should open new chapter for education.
Thank you, Guruji.
Yeah. We on my blessing, I wish. You see so many schools, but after school, the children cannot find the right word. They teach how to calculate, how to get quick money, but they don't teach people how to live happy and harmony life. There's a conflict going on. Now the big problem now, all the so-called advanced country, they just encourage production, and they destroy the Mother Earth, and they complain. So I very much like we should together find the new right education. And if you send to school, you also should see whether that is the right school or wrong school.
Guruji. So what I believe, in one step we cannot change this present scenario because they have to survive also. Survival also, good point. So in my school there are about 400 students. It's not a big school; it's a small school. We provide them the elementary skills like science, mathematics, other economics, etc. Beside that, every day and every weekend time or throughout the year, what we taught through the music, or sometimes through the movie, or through the sometimes lecture from the different prophets, we provide them to love their parents, love their country.
Right.
If they love their parents, if they love their country, obviously they will love the earth. They love the human being. So sometimes knowingly, unknowingly, we give the education like a music skill, a speech skill, and sometimes we go to every year. I take my students to the Lumbini, where we stay 2 or 3 days in front of the Asoka pillar, and we pray for the world peace and happiness which may bring in their life. Also, we think that we start a new life when you visit to the Asoka pillar and Lumbini, sometimes knowingly or unknowingly, if they might have done some mistakes. So, Lord Buddha, please forgive us. At least let us follow the same way.
Thank you. I wish I think a long time I watching you have done a lot of good things. Now, please open new chapter for education, and that chapter is like the light. We many things we cannot talk openly, but let us try to do good things. For example, when the war happened in Nepal, nobody believed Nepal can come, and we did that. Therefore, you also have the good influence. Try to convince the Nepali leader, light. Peace. Oh, thank you very much, Professor, Teacher Uday. Hope you later join us the Zoom talk. Now I would like to invite the Minh Đức Do from USA. Please share your idea how we can select right education and wrong education.
Hi everyone, thank you Guruji for allowing me to share my thoughts and my talk. I'm sorry Brad is busy today, and I apologize that I update my laptop and it crashed videos card, and I have no chance to fix it yet. So I have no video, it's only sound. I'm sorry for that. And talking about the right and wrong educations, I have nothing much but sharing from my own experience. When I was a kid, I was in high school. Actually, I went. I'm very early. I went to school early. When I 12, I already is 12 to 13. I already in high school. By the time I'm entering 16, I am in senior year of high schools and starting to entering the university, and I did very, very bad mistake. And my entire time, I always dreamed, and I love uniform. I always dreamed that one day I would join Army Academy and wear uniform. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because, you know, I'm at the school, high school, I met a teacher. I yell at teachers like anything. I yell at them. And then my teacher was very angry, and she said, then I'm very arrogant. And finally she said, okay, you don't have to come to my class if you're that good. You don't have to come. But when we do tests, you're allowed to come and do tests. I said, fine, I do it. So when it's time to her subject, I quit class. I walk out. I just go anywhere. I do read book or do whatever I want to do. And when test time, I came back and did test. I did good. But because of I'm immature and childish, during that time in Vietnam, if you was not member of Communist Youth Union, you cannot take tests, even take tests to university. I did not worry about it. I didn't care about it. So by the time when we go when we apply for military academy or police academy, they always apply first before our university. I was not member. I didn't even not allowed to apply. I'm very mad. I'm very mad, and I protest like anything. I throw tantrums. I yell at teacher again, and I couldn't do it. But they say, sorry, you couldn't do it. But I was lucky because the head teacher, she was a good friend of my sister, my elder sister, and just before the school and the prom happened, that we walked through for the for high school diploma, they put me in through, so I was able to attend university. Life treat me good, but it's the lesson for me because of immature, very immature accent and arrogant. I cannot achieve my biggest dream of my life, being a officer, military officer, and my cousin did.
Excuse me, now the sunrise. Did you see the sunrise from Himalaya?
Yes, we saw it.
Yes, we saw it. Yeah, very nice.
Very beautiful.
I would like to tell you, majority in the school, they did not teach the student about environment, respect Mother Earth. Now, one of the best way, every morning, if you spend a few minutes to see the sunrise and sunset, is wonderful. That is the gift of the nature. But I do not know why the people produce the plastic, the certificate, the many software every year. That is, I think there's something wrong education. You see now, if you have $1 million, you cannot buy the beauty of the nature. Now, every day. Yeah. Every day is changing. It's wonderful. So I think one of the subjects in the school, university, they don't talk about the environment. This is very important. And how to respect the people and nature. They just talk on how to get money. And when they die, also empty hands. Yeah. So, thank you very much, you Đức Chúng. And now,
Thank you.
Yeah. And now I would like to invite Professor Mirinan. Share, you also were the teacher in different institution, and to share your experience, how we can select and distinguish the right education and wrong education.
Sorry, you are mute, Mr. Professor Rino. Yeah.
Sorry for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
My deep respect to Guruji, Dr. Lam, as well as welcome. Good morning from Kolkata. I know in this gathering there are people from across the globe, and this is very fascinating. I won't take too long time to convey my feeling. Very shortly, I'll be speaking on. To be very frank, actually, when yesterday I got this invitation to speak on the topic, I was quite puzzled. Being a teacher or associated with education for so many years, I'm yet to understand the true meaning of education. As Guruji put it, right education and wrong education, that's quite puzzling. My previous speaker did explain a little bit regarding the formal and informal education. We all know that. The point is, the way Guruji actually, or our Gurujis actually try to explain education is something, I think, as a process of understanding the right meaning of life and the purpose of our very existence, and also the process of overcoming our emotional stress and establishing harmony in our body and mind. And that is the spiritual aspect of education. The other education we usually try to impart to our students is, of course, is a systematic branch of knowledge which is connected to production, economy, job orientation, whatever it is. Now, the part of choosing the right one need a kind of harmonious balance. We need to establish a balance between our all branches of knowledge. Without a kind of balance in our learning process, it will conflict our system, and obviously we are bound to suffer for that. I'm glad that Guruji is also giving a great deal of stretch on environment. Previous speaker also spoke about the environment. I'm really, really surprised. My own experience that I would like to share with you. Very surprised to see some changes in the world. Somehow my work connected to some field work in the Himalayan foothill. You might be knowing the Arunachal state, a very remote state in India, which is actually constitute the Himalayan foothill. There are many, many traditional communities who were studied by the great anthropologists, for hundreds of years. And in one of my field study, I had discovered that some communities have names of cloud, so many types of cloud. They have so many names for fogs. A thick fog, a light fog, very dark, non-transparent fog, slightly light, transparent fog, where you can see or visibility is say a few hundred meters. So understanding this fog and different type of cloud, they can predict what is coming on. They can predict the future, the forecast. Depends on this nature of the fogs, clouds, etc. Because that is their lifelong experience. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, the so-called modern scientific education actually giving in such a manner that the new generation started forgetting the name of all these type of folks, as well as name of all these types of clouds. So they cannot relate, they cannot forecast the way that an earlier generation used to forecast the nature. Similarly, I am told by another anthropologist, the Eskimos had named for ice minimum 11 words. They have different types of ice because they live in the ice world and they can relate. Similarly, the new generation are forgetting about the old words and they have started learning only one word, that is ice. So that is how our lifelong traditional education system is going to vanish out and replaced by the so-called modern education. And as you can see, the earlier education, traditional education is based on life experience, and the current education is based on bookish knowledge. So you can easily distinguish the utility of these two types of knowledge. I'm not going to say modern education is bad. I'm not going to say that, our old traditional education is everything in life, but there is a need to synchronize the knowledge system, perhaps. And at this stage, I would like to share with you a very brief story. It's a real story between two monks in our small traditional communities. I belong to a very traditional Buddhist tribal community. One monk who didn't have any formal education lived in the forest, meditated for many, many years, and got some spiritual capacity to develop. And the other monk who studied well in university, completed his PhD in Buddhist studies, well-versed in Pali, Tripitaka, the Buddhist chanting and everything. But he was very, very proudy. So one day he went to meet the forest monk. His intention was to ask the forest monk some text from the Pali text, as well as, some Buddhist theological question. But as soon as he entered in the forest monk's humble residence, the forest monk invited him and asked him to take a seat very politely. And before the so-called highly educated monk asking any question, the forest monk started few words of communicating. He started asking him, as the way the first speaker this morning said, did the Buddha had any university education or PhD degree like you? Immediately, the so-called high qualified educated monk understood the meaning of that particular question. And he begged pardon. He understood that, yes, it is the experience through the life. It is the practice through the life is giving us the real education. Unfortunately, now nobody give importance to the practicing aspect of life. I know so many environmentalists who keep long lecture about environmental situation, campaign about the environment, but in their practical life system, I've seen them throwing away, the plastics here, there. But they're very well versed in environmental education, big campaigner of environmental education. So many human rights defender, quote unquote human rights defender, open violate human rights at their home. This is the reality. And if that is the reality, if we don't practice it in real time, perhaps we'll not be able to establish the balance. The whole world is interconnected. The whole world system is interconnected. If there is disturbance at one corner of the world, the impact goes on, to other side of the world, in different part of the world. As you can see, the war in Ukraine, and the impact is everywhere. Similarly, I would like to say what we need not to gain now is more information. There is flooding of information. Now the deep faith things are actually penetrating into our life through digital media or whatever it is. It's time for us to understand how to screen out, how to, understand the reality of life. Perhaps a new system of education is required to establish a balance between so-called material life education as well as spiritual life education. And I deeply bow down to our spiritual gurus who teach us the facts of life, the purpose of life, the meaning of life, and the peace and harmony of the future world is to a large extent depending on that, depending on our practice. So with these few words, I would like to say thanks to Guruji as well as to my other, participants who have given their time to listen to me. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mirinam. I think these situations, I think more and more serious. Let us work together. Let's together.
Sure, Guruji.
Recently, in Lumini, I see there's two friends. One from America, from France. They bring with the board to motivate the people to respect the nature. I feel very happy if and they go to different school and then they motivate people to respect the environment. This is a wonderful thing. If everybody follow this way, don't use plastic, don't destroy the Mother Earth. It's wonderful. Another person also impressed me very much. Yogi, Guru, this Hindu monk, he load the cow, the problem, and he bring the cow to his place and he had the cow. And then after that, he also produce another we call black diamond. It's a very wonderful. No, it's a very interesting. They do a lot of things, but I feel very, very much important. So how we promote, how we encourage people to follow not only modern education, but traditional education. It's very important. I have seen so many people, they get so many certificates, but they don't respect their parents. They don't respect their nation. They don't respect their tradition. And then they create so many problems. I'm frankly to tell you. So, present education, I do not criticize. There's something wrong. We would like to request all political leaders in the world should think seriously about traditional education. Yeah. We get so much knowledge, what for? The knowledge for better life. Why we get more knowledge? We produce a weapon and we produce a poison product. So now in the market sells many poison products, but nobody dare to talk. And if we talk, maybe they will fire us to the court. And they recognized by many governments. You see, even now, I'm very much like to tell you, even there's a philosopher. The philosopher, they said our ancestor was the monkey. This is very interesting. And that's philosophy taught in school. You still listen to me? The point?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's why every institution they are producing more monkey.
Yeah.
They are not producing human being. They are producing more monkey, Guruji.
Yeah, it's a very interesting. Monkey how became a man.
Yeah.
1,000 cow is 1,000 cow. How have become a man. And many think a long time, I'm not happy with this philosophy. Then I want to criticize, but if I criticize, not so good. But now I'm very happy. Many modern new philosophers, they criticize. Yeah, monkey is a monkey. How monkey become? Yeah.
That might be similar now, in some part, yeah.
So I would like to invite some the guru yogi. You talk few work about this education.
Guruji, namaste. Jai Go Mata.
Yeah.
Jai Go Mata.
Especially thanks for our Guruji and namaste everybody. My English is not good. Bhushan Guru?
Yeah, yes, please.
हजुरले मेरो अलिकति ट्रान्सलेट गरिदिनुहुन्छ कि भनेर मैले मेसेज पठाथे।
हुन्छ, अफ कोर्स किन नगर्नु, गरिहाल्छु नि।
नमस्ते, धन्यवाद, थ्यांक यू।
Guruji, he wants me, if some difficulties, then he wants me to translate in English. Maybe I can interrupt you while if needed to translate in English. Okay, please go on. अगाडि बढ्नुस्।
जसरी हामीलाई शरीरको लागि घाँस बाँस र कपासको आवश्यकता पर्छ, त्यस्तै शिक्षाको पनि आवश्यकता पर्छ।
Talking about our life, just we need food, accommodation, air for our body. So for our knowledge, we need education to survive.
भोजनले शरीरलाई बचाउँछ भने शिक्षाले हामी भित्रको मानवतालाई बचाउँछ।
Okay, food makes us survive to our body, and the education makes survival for our knowledge and for human being and mankind.
अघि जसरी गुरुजीले हाम्रो भियतनामको गुरुजीले सूर्य उदय भयो भन्नुभयो। सूर्य उदय भएपछि जसरी यो ब्रह्माण्डमा भनौं यो पृथ्वीमा पुरा उज्यालो हुन्छ, शिक्षाले हामी भित्र उज्यालो छर्न सक्नुपर्छ, कहीँ अन्धकार रहनु हुँदैन।
Just before Guruji showed us an example, there's a sunrise and it is giving the entire light to this world, not only for this world, for this whole galaxy. So this education also should enlighten or make brighten our knowledge. Our education should be the impart of our life, which may or which should brighten our life of knowledge.
शिक्षा तेस्रो आँखा हो।
It's the third eye of our knowledge.
यदि शिक्षा गलत भयो भने हामी अन्धो समान हुन्छौं।
Yeah, without good education or right education, we are blind with two eyes.
अब शिक्षाले व्यक्ति भित्र भएको ज्ञानलाई लुकेर बसेको क्षमतालाई उजागर गर्छ।
It will empower the knowledge and that has a suppressed mind inside the human being, or it will just encourage people for the inner happiness.
आज मान्छेहरू चाहिँ पढ्न त पढेका छन्, तर पढेर पनि मान्छेहरू आत्महत्या गर्न बाध्य छन्। त्यो गलत शिक्षाको प्रतिफल हो।
You can hear so many bad news that people are getting suicide. Even they have a good certificate of university. They are getting the education, so-called education, but they are getting suicide. They were killed by themselves. It's a drawback of the modern education, or it's a bad education.
शिक्षा केवल जीविकोपार्जनको लागि अथवा धनोपार्जनको लागि केवल गाडी र सुविधाको लागि भयो भने त्यो शिक्षाले खासै जीवनमा अर्थ राख्दैन। शिक्षाले त जीवनमा खुशी दिनुपर्छ, आत्मिक उन्नति दिनुपर्छ, नैतिक उन्नति दिनुपर्छ।
The modern education which are providing, just producing how to earn money, how to get good houses, how to get a Rolls Royce or expensive car, etc. That's give you just the maybe suffocating or convulsing mind. The education should give the inner peace and happiness, the harmony among the all living beings.
यदि शिक्षाले हाम्रो मानवतालाई, नैतिकतालाई, हाम्रो भावलाई उजागर गरेन भने त्यो शिक्षा शिक्षा नभएर it is just information and data.
Yeah, the education should enhance our morality, attitude, and we should understand the people's feeling. Even for the animals' feeling, we have to understand the animals' feeling. Even if the education is not providing us such information or such morality or such attitude, not development, that's just the weapons. In terms of education, they are providing the weapons which is killing this earth day by day.
गौतम बुद्धको पालामा पनि गौतम बुद्धको भगवानको कुनै सर्टिफिकेट थिएन, तर त्यतिखेर धेरै शिष्यहरू थिए। उनीहरू दुःख गरेर पढ्थे, गएर भिक्षाटन गर्थे अनि खान्थे। आज बढी सुविधा भएर हामी चाहिँ बिग्रिरहेका छौं। दुःख संसारको सबैभन्दा ठुलो युनिभर्सिटी हो जसले सबै कुरा सिकाउँछ।
Yeah, during the Gautam Buddha, the Lord Buddha's time, there were so many followers. They do have to work hard work in their life, going for praying for the in front of the sitting in front of the Buddha and praying for the chanting for a long time, and they just go for outside for alms, and they do have a very bad hard life. So what does it say? If you can have a sorrow, if you have sadness in heart, the sadness or sorrow is the big university which will teach you to make happiness in the entire world.
भगवान गौतम बुद्धले दुःख देख्नुभयो अनि दुःखको कारण छ भनेर पत्ता लगाउनुभयो। मृत्यु देख्नुभयो अनि मृत्यु हुन्छ भन्ने थाहा भयो। हामीले यदि अनुभवै गर्न सकेन भने कसरी थाहा हुन्छ? हामीले हरेक कुरा अनुभव गर्नुपर्छ शिक्षामा।
Yeah, during the history or education, that Lord Buddha knew about the unhappiness, so he searched for the happiness. He saw the man become the old. So he searched for how to be, how to live for a long life or how to be live for a long life. So he got the solution for happiness.
वास्तवमा अहिलेको शिक्षा अत्यन्त महँगो छ। डाक्टर पढ्ने मान्छेले करोडौं खर्च गर्छ, पाइलट पढ्ने मान्छे होस् या सीए होस् उसले करोडौं खर्च गर्छ। यस्तो बढी खर्चिलो शिक्षाले वास्तवमा मानव भन्दा पनि चोर जन्माउँछ। अहिले मान्छेले चोरिरहेको छ, चाहे भनौं यो शिक्षा क्षेत्रमा जाउँ अथवा स्वास्थ्य क्षेत्रमा जाउँ, त्यहाँ केवल हामी चाहिँ व्यापार गरिरहेका छौं, त्यहाँ सेवा गरिरहेका छैनौं। सेवा गर्ने मान्छे त केवल यो कम खर्चिलो निशुल्क शिक्षाले मात्र दिन्छ, किन उसले जीवनमा धेरै खर्च गरेर पढेको हुन्छ। त्यो खर्चको ब्याज सहित निकाल्नलाई उ जताबाट पनि कसरी निकालौं भनेर त्यसैमा लागिरहेको।
Now the modern education, so-called education, it's not education actually, it's a so-called education is becoming very expensive. To become a doctor, to be a pilot, to be a CEO, or to be a manager, you have to spend lots of money, thousands of money, sometimes maybe the millions of rupees to be a scholar from the university. So what they calculate, after being a doctor, after being a pilot or being a manager, they calculate they have spent lots of money and they want to return back their money in multiplication form. So that's again making the people more cruel and creating the unhappiness in their lives. So happiness is we can get in the Gurukul Shiksha.
अहिले जति पनि नराम्रा काम भइरहेका छन्, पढे लेखेका मान्छे बढी गरिरहेका छन्। जस्तो उदाहरणको लागि त्यो पेन्टागन हान्ने ओसामा बिन लादेन पनि कम पढेको चाहिँ थिएन।
It's a Indian prison situation. What the scenario said that the lots of the so-called having the good educator from the university, they are destroying the lives. So-called Osama bin Laden, he's not a normal people in terms of education or university. He has got lots of degree, but he exploited the Pentagon long ago.
हामीले बच्चालाई संस्कार दिन सकेनौ भने शिक्षाको कुनै अर्थ छैन। हामीले बच्चालाई हजुर सेवा गर्न सिकाउनु पर्छ, कसैलाई केही दिन सिकाउनु पर्छ र उनले जीवन सिक्छ, उनले प्रकृति सिक्छ, सबै कुरा सिक्छ। हामीले शिक्षालाई हामीले सिकाउनु पर्छ।
So in what we suggest, what he want to suggest that in terms of education, we must teach our children for giving. Giving is also from the receiving. So giving to the nature, we're receiving from the nature. If we teach our children to serve other people, and obviously they will be happy. And while taking from the others, they will be happy for one day. If you give something to the nature or something to the other people, you will be happy for your lifelong.
अहिले सानैमा हामीसँग समय नभएर वास्तवमा बच्चाको पहिलो शिक्षा, पहिलो पाठशाला भनेको परिवार हो। उसले परिवारबाट, समाजबाट अनि यो प्रकृतिबाट धेरै कुरा सिक्छ।
The first school of the children is their family or the nature. From the family and the nature, the children learn so many things which we cannot imagine.
अहिले हामीसँग समय नभएर बच्चालाई बोडस गर्दिन्छौँ। बुढेसकालमा उसँग पनि समय हुन्न, हामीलाई पनि लिएर बोडस गर्दिन्छ।
Yeah, what does it mean? That nowadays people are too much busy. They do not have time for their children. They want to keep their children to the hostel, so-called hostel in the school. Later on, when we became the old one, they also want to keep us in the hostel, so-called elder house.
त्यही भएर वास्तवमा शिक्षाले हाम्रो परिवारमा, प्यारेन्ट्समा एक आपसमा प्रेम जगाउनु पर्छ, सद्भाव जगाउनु पर्छ, भाव जगाउनु पर्छ। जहाँ भाव हुँदैन त्यहाँ सधैँ अभाव नै हुन्छ।
Okay, the education should be enhanced in such a way so that it should be have just only the love and love and love. To love the nature, to love the parents, to love the whole environment, to love this entire galaxy. If there is love, everything is possible.
हामी मान्छे मात्र यस्तो प्राणी हो जसले सबैलाई खुसी बाँड्न सक्छौं। शिक्षाले त सबैलाई खुसी बनाउन हामीलाई सिकाउनु पर्छ। संसार खुसी भयो भने मात्र हामी खुसी हुन सक्छौं, किनकि हामी पनि त्यही संसारको परिवार हो। परिवारमा कोही दुखी भयो भने हामी कहिले पनि खुसी हुन सक्दैनौं। यो कुरा महत्त्वपूर्ण कुरा हो, यो बुझ्नु जरुरी छ।
So in this entire world, I think only the human being, they can share their happiness. We can share our sorrow. We can share our sadness to all to others. So education should be in such a way so that we can share only happiness to others, not only for the human being. Also, we think about the nature, the environment, creature, and all living being in this world.
हामीले अहिले एउटा प्रयत्न गरिरहेका छौं। हाम्रो आदरणीय भियतनामको गुरुजीको आशीर्वाद पनि छ हामीलाई, र हामीले अहिले गुरुकुल सञ्चालन गरेका छौं। पहिलो वर्ष 16 जना विद्यार्थी थिए, अब 20 जना बढ्दैछन्। यही 1 महिनापछि हाम्रो 36 जना विद्यार्थी हुँदैछन्। हामीले पनि एउटा प्रयत्न त गरिरहेका छौं, तर हामी यसमा बच्चाहरूलाई कसरी बच्चा शैक्षिक रूपमा पनि उन्नति होस् र नैतिक रूपमा पनि उन्नति होस् भनेर हामीले चाहिँ एउटा प्रयत्न गरिरहेका छौं अहिले।
Yeah, on behalf of the Vietnam Guru, Dr. Lam, he's trying his best to provide the education from starting from 15. Now there is 20 different children. He's trying his best to provide the knowledge as well as to the education for the peace and harmony.
वास्तवमा शिक्षा त्यो चीज हो जसले चाहिँ हाम्रो जीवनलाई चाहिँ एउटा सही मार्ग देखाउँछ। यदि हामी पढ्ने र पढाउने दुईटै लोभी भयौं भने हाम्रो दुई जनाकै हामी भनौं अहिले कस्तो भइराछ भन्नुहुन्छ भने हामीले चाहिँ बढी पैसा दिएर हामीले शिक्षकलाई किन्ने यस्तो अवस्था आइरहेको छ। र एउटा नेपाली हिन्दीमा उखान छ, गुरु चेला लोभी गुरु लालची चेला दोनों नरकमै ठेलाम ठेला भने जस्तो हाम्रो अहिले त्यो अवस्था छ हैन। त्यही भएर हामीले यदि सही मार्गमा जाने हो भने हाम्रो नैतिक शिक्षा, आध्यात्मिक शिक्षा हामीलाई नितान्त जरुरी छ, जसले जीवनलाई बुझ्ने जीवनलाई बुझाउने महत्त्वपूर्ण भूमिका खेल्छ।
Even he's talking about not only for the student, he's also talking about the master. If the master becomes a greedy, and he will produce more greediest student in his life. So there should be some time of linkage between the teacher and the student, or master and the student, their follower. They should teach about there should not be greediness. There should be only giving things. And also we have to acknowledge their mind. for the peace and harmony. So from the little money also we can do lots of things.
यदि शिक्षा उ पढेर पनि आफूले भनौं साना समस्यालाई समाधान गर्न सकेन, आफ्नो भावनालाई, आफ्नो चाहनालाई, आफ्नो इच्छालाई, आफ्नो आकांक्षालाई सबै कुरालाई उले नियन्त्रण गर्न सकेन, सन्तुलनमा राख्न सकेछ भने त्यो शिक्षा हैन.
That is not the education which is not possible to control their mind, control their behavior, and control their attitude. So education should be as a weapons that can control our feeling, that can control our attitude. All should be in the well-being of our human being.
अहिलेको शिक्षा मान्छेलाई व्यवहारतिर लगेको छैन, मान्छेलाई सिकाइतिर लगेको छैन, केवल अहिले हामी इन्फर्मेसन र डाटा मात्रै कलेक्ट गरिरहेका छौं.
The present education is just like a data bank which is not providing the moral education or not teaching any attitude or giving us the good information.
यो पहाडको उचाइ यति छ, यो नदीको गहिराई यति छ भनेर त थाहा छ, तर पहाड कसरी चढ्ने, नदीमा कसरी पौडी खेल्ने भन्ने कुरा हामीलाई थाहा छैन.
Thus, they know the measurement of the height of the mountain or the length of the river or the depth of the river. They do not know how it is created by the nature.
र वास्तवमा अहिलेको शिक्षाले मान्छेलाई हेर्नु आत्महत्या, डिप्रेसनमा, फ्रस्ट्रेसनमा लगेको छ. शिक्षा त त्यो जसले जीवनलाई चाहिँ उत्सव बनाइदिन्छ.
Yeah, the present education which is making people more greedy about the material world. So they want to earn more money. They want to have a lavish life. They are dreaming for the very luxury life, which is causing for suicide, frustration, ultimately to the depression.
हाम्रो कुरालाई धैर्य गरेर सुनिदिनु भयो. यहाँहरुलाई धन्यवाद. म धेरै समय लिन चाहन्न, समय कम छ.
I'm very much thankful for all the listeners who maybe knowingly, unknowingly, what I have shared my opinion. I'm very much thankful to all the listeners and especially to the Guruji, Dr. Lam.
Okay, Guruji, I am learning English. Little. I know little English. I'm learning. After some month, I'll be perfect in English.
Thank you, Yogi. Even I'm very surprised you write me one small text in Vietnamese. You see, it's wonderful. When I meet him, like my brother in the previous slides, I respect him very much because he take care of the cow. Then he produce
injured cow, who accidental cows.
Then he invented black diamond. So
yeah,
you should create the company and export the black diamond. This is a new chapter. Okay, yeah. Thank you very much for you offering us many black diamond. I wish one day you should travel to Vietnam and many countries in the world and to preach the peace and respect the Mother Earth. Thank you. Yes. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to invite Professor John. You share a few minutes about right education and wrong education.
Okay, hello, namaste, hello everybody. But there are many more people here this week that could talk, I'm sure. I will be very, very quick. The past talkers were very, very good. And Mr. Dieu reminded me of some things. What I was going to say, maybe I'll change my mind. He talked about the traditional way of learning and the modern way of learning. When I knew we were going to talk about this, as what I do with my students, I asked my students last night, what is right education and what is wrong education? And they gave me another insight. One thing is if we don't teach what they are asking for, simple as that. If we don't teach them what they're asking to be taught, then we are teaching the wrong information. It's wrong education. And so that became, I had a look at that and I thought, that's a very clever answer. and that it's very subjective. Education can be very subjective because I can stand here and we must teach them respect. We must teach them to look after the environment, and we must teach them blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. Whatever I say is my feelings and my beliefs. That is subjective. You know, it's an opinion of mine. And when we come together as a common, if we get a common thread together, then all our opinions line up. Then we can educate a lot easier. And as Mr. Adea was saying before, the old way, the traditional way, and the new way. When I was very young, I started an apprenticeship, and it was 6 months before the tradesman would let me pick up any tools. All I did was watch. I could carry his tools. I could make the cup of tea. I could watch. I could clean up, but I couldn't do anything. Right? I had to earn the right to learn what he was doing. And it taught a great amount of discipline. Now, I'm not saying that's a better way. I'm not saying it's a right way. And now when we start education, I went back and visited my old place a few years ago. The first year apprentices they wanted to do everything immediately. We can't do, because we need experience. We need the knowledge and the experience and sit back. And I think at the moment, with the internet, with around the world, with Wikipedia, with everything, knowledge is at our fingertips. Whatever we want to learn is just there in front of us, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. I also think that we think we become experts by sitting at our desk learning on computers instead of putting it into real life. That I think is also something to think about, how we can introduce that. And I know Master is very humble. He talks about what he did. He's very grateful, and he goes around and he's very humble, but he does a lot. He puts his actions where his mouth is. He does a lot to help the community. And we have a conscious learning and an unconscious learning. You know, we don't know how much we teach. When my children were younger, they picked up my attitudes and my behaviors a lot quicker than they picked up my what I was telling them to do. Yeah. So that was, I just think we have to be aware of what we do. What we do impacts the world and our environment a lot more than what we say. So like I said, I'll be very quick and I'm done. And thank you very much. And I don't know what's happened to Master. Are you there, Master? And World Guardians have got their hand up. Hello, World Guardians.
Hey, John. How you doing?
Thank you.
So you were just saying when you were just starting that you have to teach what people want to be taught. Is that what you were saying? Did I hear you correctly?
Oh, when I asked my students what's the right education and what's wrong education. And the student said, if you are teaching me what I haven't asked for.
I think they just want the answer of their knowledge. They don't want to be the educator, but they want to just answer for their problem.
Well, they put the example of if I want to be a doctor, but you're teaching me to be a hairdresser. You know, then that's not the right education. You know, that was an example. But,
I see.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, there are some teachers out there that maybe teach their opinions rather than facts.
So maybe Mr. John, I would like to share one thing. This is in this modern now. I'm also getting the modern education. Yes, since my childhood, I was taught in the school, so-called elementary school, high school, and university, where I got my education. So-called education is a modern education. They always gave the relative examples from the sick people. Yes, sometimes unhappy mind. Yeah, suppose they have to compare. So they made. Suppose someone they are providing the medicine. They always observe and experiment with the sick people. And they made a medicine to make us happy. So just see the internal structure, internal elements of our body, and something which is lacking, they just provide as a supplement, and they want to make us physically healthy, not mental healthy. So in this entire world, whatever the scientist or maybe the big doctor, engineer, or maybe prophet, whoever are learning, they always have a comparison with the sick people, sick mind. They never have a testing or never have an experiment with the healthy people or healthy mind. Do they have any question? Maybe there are so many studies about the heart, so many studies about the bone, and maybe millions of studies about the mind, the mind. Immediately, one might answer make you immediately happy. If I give you the wrong answer that you don't want, that immediately that makes you unhappy. Nobody knows. Now, till the time, science has no answer. What makes you happy? What makes you unhappy? Even one word that may cause you unhappy, isn't it?
Yeah, I have a different philosophy to that. The science has, as we recently, there's a big pharmaceutical company that are pushing forward that the chemicals in our bodies can create our moods. But then there's the philosophy, the psychological philosophy of that our attitudes create the chemicals in our bodies.
Yeah.
And, so science does look at it, but I'm afraid it only becomes popular when there can be money made from it, which is a sad thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And but the other thing, the empowering people to, if I say something, if you say something bad to me, or I say something bad to you, then it's up to us whether we take that on board and become happy or unhappy. At the moment, as we can see going through, if you call me a name I don't want you to call me, then my world collapses around. That's it's a sad place to be. If I have to identify with what a name that you call me can only validate who I am, then that we're not standing on our 2 feet. We're putting other people in responsibility for our own feelings, and that becomes a little bit of a hard life. If someone else is responsible to how I feel, whether I feel good or bad about myself, then I'm in for a whirlwind of pain, So, yes.
So, thank you, Professor John. So I think now we should be harmony from modern and traditional education. We should not engage in totally in consumer philosophy, consumer society. This is very harmful. They think only consumer, and they destroy environment. They do not respect their parents. They do not respect their nation. They do not respect the peace. Just, you see now there's many organizations. They think only how to get benefit. And they produce the weapon. That is the big problem for our modern education now. Let us together, work together, apply our traditional education so that the peace will come. Otherwise, it's not easy. Yeah. So, Anybody want to have some suggestion about this topic? It's a remain few minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, yes, please, few minutes.
Yeah. Okay. I know how you can teach whatever you want, John, and all your other teachers. You know what the trick is?
Chocolates.
You can go without pay, like I do for over a decade, to many schools. You just walk in and tell them what you're doing, environmentalism or plant-based diets, and save the planet, and they'll just every school in Asia I've gone to has never said no. And since I'm not asking for a penny from them, I don't have to pander to whatever they want me to do. I just go and do what I do. I use my own little bit of savings and just hit. Now I'm actually, which is amazing thing, it's put on the wall in concrete, in paper, not paper, excuse me, in paint. Because what happens if you make a banner, the banners often get taken down sometimes by the kids or the teachers after a few weeks or months, and then that message isn't there. I have a new banner for Asian schools, especially, which is saying, and we're making stencils, and we have the children repeat it 20 times or more because it sticks in their head. During assembly time, it seems to be the best time. You can have the whole school repeat it and jointly sing the mantra of the words, which is, I promise to pick up and recycle 100 particles of trash every single day. I will not burn trash or throw it in the river. I will safely bury or use plastic, not burn it. And then we can say, we can feed twice as many people in the world as on a plant-based diet as opposed to animal products. And every single moment, animals are being hurting. More than 1 billion people are going hungry per day, or suffering great pains, not just hunger pains, but from cancer. So these messages are on there, or dying. So all these great messages are, taught by, Buddha and so many wonderful saints over the millennia. So anyway, you can do what you want to do, but you just have to not want money. That's the key. That's another thing we have to teach the kids. Just want happiness, not money. That's the new economy. It's simple dancing, playing music, eating nice food, vegetarian, vegan food if you can, and save the planet and stop the violence. So that's what we do at worldguardians.org. Thanks for letting me speak. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you. And I wish you continue to contribute for good environment. Thank you. Thank you very much. So today's we have very good topic, and that's us not only NATO, no action talking only. Let us work. Then I also very much request Professor Ude and Chakma. Let us together do something for humanity in modern world. Thank you very much for joining us. And bye-bye, and hope to see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Guruji, for your appreciation and giving us an opportunity to talk in this forum. Once again, thank you very much, Guruji.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Master, John, any
you.